you mentioned Joe Burrow.
Mhm.
The 2 years he's been totally healthy, the Cincinnati Bengals, they go to the AFC Championship game and they go to the Super Bowl. The other years, not so much. Uh, this year, the two Super Bowl participants that just finished their classic Super Bowl decided in overtime. The Bengals beat the 49ers on the road October 29th, 31-17. Now, the 49ers didn't have their left tackle. They didn't have their Swiss Army knife in Deebo Samuel. They were down 31-17 on the road at San Francisco. They intercepted Purdy more than once. And then December 31st at Kansas City, that's not Joe Burrow at quarterback. It's Jake Browning. It's a one-score game, 25-17. The Cincinnati Bengals, if they can keep Joe Burrow healthy, the two teams that went to the Super Bowl, they played them off their feet. Future looks decent, obviously, or better for the Bengals, doesn't it, Solly?
I think it does. Yeah, I think it looks real bright. Um, we have an issue in our league right now where the quarterbacks can't stay healthy. And it's incumbent upon several things. I think the rules have gone as far as we can go when it comes to protecting quarterbacks, right? And now we're asking quarterbacks to do a better job of protecting themselves. Um, I'll give, look, Tom Brady has said it. It's up to the quarterbacks not to throw the ball in harm's way to help protect receivers. Because he's recognized now that he's on this side of it that, man, the players could do a better job of protecting themselves. That the legislating of protection probably has gone as far as you can go without turning it into the Pro Bowl, right? Without turning it into something that it wasn't meant to be. And so that's where, and so teams are going to have to do a better job of building protection around the quarterback. There's no doubt about it. I'm not for listening to conversations that people put the onus on Joe Burrow to give money back to an organization that's a solution, because it's not. We have not seen anywhere across the whole landscape of sports where a player says, "Here, I'm going to take a whole lot less," and the team takes that money and goes on and win championships. Just doesn't happen. You
Right.
know this. It doesn't happen. In
Right.
fact, let's think more corporately across any industry. Where would you go ask the lowest paid people at the bottom of the organization to ask the people to do the work of the people at the top of the organization to make them solvent in how they run a business? It's just it's not the right conversation to be having. I think it puts the wrong kind of eyeballs on a player like Joe Burrow, who by all intents and purposes has done everything within his power to deliver on the promise of bringing a championship, right? So to even have that conversation, it becomes so divisive that I think it's unfair to him, to be honest with you, because he's going to work and play as hard as he can. I get concerned also that because I used to have these conversations with Andrew Luck. I'm like, Andrew, man, you play the game with this reckless abandonment. You got to take care of yourself. You got to get down. You got to. So I'm talking to Andrew like, you need to do more to protect you, because no one else is coming to the rescue. And then he ended up having to walk away from the game early, and we as football fans were robbed of what I thought was going to be a Hall of Fame career. And I feel the same way with Joe Burrow. Joe has a way of playing where he plays with his heart, right? He's a tough guy. But I'm telling you, the toughest quarterbacks, they don't play long. They don't age well in our game.
Right.
It's the guys that say, up, they'll drop before they take that hit. And that's not that they're a coward or that they're chicken. They understand the win-loss quotient of that equation. Like, to do the right thing, staying healthy is really my number one job first. And then secondly, all the other things in terms of, winning games and all those things, you cannot do that if you don't stay on the field. And so finding a way to stay healthy is priority number one. But he also needs some help from the organization to get that done. Like, for instance, if he wants to play every play under shotgun, as a coach, I'm like, look, here's what putting you under center really does. It helps your offensive line to protect you better, right?
Yep.
It helps your receivers to get greater separation down the field. Um, it does a lot of things for the offense as a whole. And at some point in time, you've got to begin to put things into play that help the entire apparatus, even though the one player, as great as he is, may have a preference to do one thing. You've got to say, if we're going to grow, if we're going to grow as a team, and if we're going to help everyone on the offense be good, this is how we need to play. And I think smart heads will prevail with that conversation.